Every designer knows this moment. The design is almost there, but the image isn't. You scroll endlessly, nothing feels right, and paying for a subscription for one single photo just doesn't make any sense. I've been stuck here hundreds of times, and after a while, I started developing my own way of finding strong images without relying on paid stock. I get asked all the time, where do you get your images? And the answer is always the same place you do. While I occasionally use paid services like Adobe Stock, most of the time I'm using websites like Unsplash or Pexels. No subscriptions, no fees, the same photos available to me are available to you. People sometimes think there is a secret to it, but really there isn't. All I can do is share my perspective, so take what's useful, ignore what's not, and hopefully something here helps you improve your own work. One thing I'd advise all creators to do is to develop your eye or your taste. If you don't know what you like, what works, or what makes a photo feel strong, you're already making it harder on yourself. Spend time looking at photography and paying attention to what draws you in. Is it a certain style, lighting, or color treatment? And you don't have to endlessly scroll stock sites or follow photography accounts either. Look at designers you admire and study how they use photography. How does it elevate their work? How does it support their ideas? And as much as designers utilize photography in their work, there are many who know nothing about it. I think it's incredibly beneficial to have an understanding of how cameras work. You don't need to buy a camera or learn all the technical details, but understanding the fundamentals helps. For instance, what constitutes a wide shot versus a close-up? What kinds of shot compositions exist? How do basic camera settings like ISO, aperture, and shutter speed affect the photo? If you work with photos often, this can really change the way you approach design and improve your art direction skills. It helps you choose images that communicate emotion and intent more clearly. For me, I went to film school, so I learned how shot choices affect an audience. If I'm trying to communicate something to the audience or want to convey the emotion of a character in a film, what shot will help me accomplish that? What does a wide shot convey compared to a close-up one? What about a low-angle shot versus a high-angle shot? Learning photography strengthens your communication skills and in turn can make your designs even stronger. And another aspect of learning photography is learning the terminology. These platforms are curated by photographers. If you know the language they use, searching becomes much easier. So instead of thinking visually, try thinking like a photographer. For example, if you want something that feels energetic or full of movement, you could search for motion blur, long exposure, or low shutter speed instead of just blurry. The more specific your language, the better chances you have of finding exactly what you need. Think how a photographer would describe it, not how a designer would. Photography isn't secondary design. It's just as important, and it's worth investing time to understand it. That's where the sponsor for this video, Skillshare, comes in handy. Skillshare has creative classes taught by world-class creatives like professional illustrators, renowned graphic designers, and successful entrepreneurs. It is the best place to learn a creative skill or pick up a new hobby. Skillshare is where humans come to learn from other humans. I took Justin Bridges' Fundamentals of DSLR Photography. It's a fairly short course with a ton of great information for building an understanding of digital photography. If you just want to know the basics without getting into anything too advanced, this is the course to take. And luckily, he has another course for more advanced topics. So if you want to know more, you can continue learning. Not only that, they have courses on design as well. So learn however much you like about photography, and then you can take courses on logo design, poster design, editorial design, and just about any other kind of design you can think of. If there's something you've been itching to learn, Skillshare has a course for you. Design, photography, film, music, writing, there's a course for it. The first 500 people to use my link in the description or scan the QR code will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Now, sometimes you have a very specific image in mind, but that's sometimes the problem. With free stock especially, your options can be very limited, and sometimes the image you want simply doesn't exist. Having a more open mind when you're searching for photography can have a drastic change on your experience. Instead of locking into one idea, look for other ways to communicate the same feeling or concept. Try searching more broadly and seeing what opportunities exist within each image. A small shift in perspective can open up options you might otherwise miss. One way you could do this is by varying your wording. If you're looking for something that feels sad, don't just search sad. Try words like melancholy, lonely, or introspective. Similar emotions often lead to very different results, and context matters a lot. You don't always need something literal like someone crying to communicate a feeling. Sometimes a quieter image, like someone looking out a window, does an even better job. Using related terms helps you stay in the same emotional space while widening your search. This could also mean trying to search by concept instead of subject. You can try looking up something like a woman on a city street and have no luck. So instead, try a broader concept. Maybe that's isolation or freedom or chaotic. So instead of getting stuck on a specific subject, you open yourself up to different photographs that might convey the emotion or message you're trying to portray. Sometimes the subject matters less than the idea it communicates. Now, the most powerful advice I can give is to look for the potential in every photo. It's easy to get stuck looking at a photo exactly as it is and not see how you can take it and use it to your advantage. Maybe it's as simple as changing the cropping of an image. Maybe it's flipping it upside down. Maybe it's doing a different color grade. Let me show you an example. This was a design I was working on not too long ago. I think the photo is pretty cool and it works well with the design, but let me show you the original. Honestly, it's nothing too special. It's not some crazy angle or using any special effects, but changing the perspective with the crop and doing some of my own color grading gave it a completely new look and feel. If I wasn't willing to explore what this photo could be, I could have easily missed the potential that was there all along. So download multiple photos that could work and try them all out. Drop them in, move them around, and see what can happen. Worst case scenario, you just delete the photos that you don't like, but having a good library to pull from can make things a bit easier. And speaking of having a library of photos, you should be building one. And as a side note, build a library of mockups too. When I'm looking for photos for a project, I'll often save photos that I find, even if I don't need them for a project. If I see something I like, I take it, I save it, and that way I have a personally curated selection of photos ready to use instead of having to search through the same photographs again and again just to find the photo I saw a week ago and now want to use for a project. This could also be a great way to figure out what kind of photographs you enjoy. If you save every photo that catches your eye, you can now go through all of them, deconstruct them, and see what the commonalities are. Sometimes we miss the obvious connections because we are too busy focusing on one single thing. Seeing an entire library of photos might reveal something that a single photo won't. Hopefully these tips will prove useful to you. I know some of them are a bit vague, but I don't believe in definitive answers when it comes to creativity. I always want to encourage people to explore and find their own process, but I'm happy to share what I know in case it does come in handy. And if you're someone who likes exploring design and art, I'd appreciate it if you would check out the rest of my channel. If you like what you see, leave a like and subscribe. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next video.